It's time for Debrief, your weekly roundup of TRT World's top stories.
Yes. What are you doing?
We've just come from a command centre forward of this position.
About 6, 7, 8 airstrikes just pounded the Yemeni capital.
Some breaking news. The Indian Army has launched attacks on sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir.
India's government says it has carried out strikes on 9 different sites in Pakistan in what it calls Operation Sindoor. Multiple explosions in Muzaffarabad, the capital of Pakistan's administered Kashmir.
And another 2 cities in the province of Punjab, from where it claims attacks against India have been planned and directed.
Latest tension triggered by April 22nd attack in Pahalgam in the Indian-administered Kashmir.
Despite a fortnight having passed since the attacks, there has been no demonstrable step from Pakistan.
The attacks weren't against military installations, that they were essentially targeting alleged terrorist infrastructure, which is why they think that Pakistan should consider it perhaps as something which is non-escalatory in nature.
When you remove that those were civilian, normal, residential areas in all the places, then obviously the rest of the narrative just flies in the air.
Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has given free hand to all the 3 defense chiefs, saying that they will only launch attacks on the terrorist facilities. They have not, launched any attack on the military facility in Pakistan.
We are concentrating and we are putting our fire only on the military targets.
Right, that's confusing because Pakistan earlier denied that it had fired rockets, drones, shells into Indian territory.
No, Pakistan, I'm talking about the line of control where the military posts from where the Indian military is taking on deliberate firing of the civilians. So there is small arms fire. Pakistan is not taking on the drones or rocket attacks, not at all, absolutely not at all.
As the world watches on, there seems to be no slowing down in what's the worst confrontation between the 2 countries in more than 2 decades.
In the early hours of Sunday, airstrikes on southern Gaza again targeted displaced families in Khan Yunis and the so-called safe zone of Al Mawasi.
Israel's cabinet has now approved a major escalation in its military campaign in Gaza, paving the way for tens of thousands of troops to be deployed into the Strait.
This is what we are doing. There will be a movement of the population in Gaza to protect it.
Israel already controls 1/3 of the Gaza Strip from the north to the south. Tel Aviv says it will operate in new areas and destroy all infrastructure above and below ground.
This will inevitably lead to countless more civilians killed and the further destruction of Gaza.
Residents in northern Gaza have been trying to find survivors from a building that has collapsed after being bombed by the Israeli military. Dozens of rescue workers in Beit Lahia, they had been searching with just their phone torches.
This situation in Beit Lahia is repeated almost on a daily basis throughout the Gaza Strip.
No medicine, no formula. These are the words from the mother of Janan Eskafi, a baby in Gaza who recently died of malnutrition.
The government media office says that thousands of children risk dying because of the ongoing Israeli blockade.
63 days of blockade, of no aid, no water, no food. I think that humanitarian actors are tearing their hair out here in terms of what is being done.
Gaza's media office has warned hospitals are a day away from collapse as Israeli forces block access to much-needed fuel and aid.
Unable to replenish the stocks of food, the World Central Kitchen has been forced to close.
But we begin in Gaza, where the US has announced a controversial plan to deliver humanitarian aid to Palestinians.
We are very concerned about the proposal to use facial recognition as a precondition to access aid. It's against all humanitarian principles to screen and monitor beneficiaries.
The election to pick the next pope, known as the conclave, begins in the Vatican on Wednesday. The next leader of the Catholic Church will come from 133 cardinals, with a 2/3 majority picking the winner.
Thick black smoke emerged from the Sistine Chapel's chimney, signalling the first day of voting ended without a verdict.
Black smoke at the Vatican, signalling cardinals meeting in a secret conclave have failed to elect a new pope.
There's a rumour, speculation going around that there will be a decision made today.
Right, breaking news coming in.
White smoke pouring from the chimney above the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. It signals that a new pope has been elected on day 2.
It's going to emerge on that balcony shortly, and the whole world is going to see who is the leader of 1.4 billion Catholics. Habeas Papam, we have a pope.
Cardinal Robert Francis Provost, or Pope Leo XIV as he'll now be known, the first ever American pope.
You know, he said that there are difficulties in the world, but the church is for the world. We're not there for ourselves. People ask, who is Christ? And we must give them an answer.
And here's our News in Brief roundup. Don't blink.
An exchange of missiles in the Middle East. Israel has severely damaged Yemen's Sana'a airport, the country's largest, on Tuesday. It was a tit-for-tat exchange after Sunday's Houthi strikes near Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion.
Airstrikes, they seem to have targeted various locations across the Yemeni capital, including cement factories, including the power plant of Dahban, including the power plant in the district of Hijaz.
The terminal was still burning a day later, cutting off a crucial hub for international travel and humanitarian operations. On Monday, Israeli strikes targeted Yemen's main port in Hodeidah. The group was backed into a corner under the pressure of heavy US bombardment and agreed to a ceasefire brokered by Oman to stop attacking commercial ships in the Red Sea.
They don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight, and we will honor that.
But they also said Israel is not included in the ceasefire. Ukraine's parliament just greenlit a major minerals deal with the US. For Kyiv, more military aid from the US. It's not the raw deal some feared, though. Ukraine gets some leeway too, including waived repayments on past US aid and a reconstruction fund to tap for the next decade. Although it's a bitter decision when there's more than one price to pay.
Ukraine is believed to have vast mineral wealth. Very little of it has been exploited, leaving much potential but little benefit, especially for those living near resource deposit sites like Kapanki.
We have seen what happens around other mines. Villages don't develop, the water disappears, roads get turned up by trucks and nobody repairs them. But if this helps bring peace, we can close our eyes to all that.
Tuesday was a turbulent day in German politics. Conservative leader Friedrich Merz stumbled in what was supposed to be a formality for German parliament to confirm him as chancellor, but he didn't get the votes on the first try, something that hasn't happened since World War II. Merz clinched it the second time around, but it was less victory lap, more rocky start. An uneasy coalition with the outgoing party, the Social Democrats. Another first since the fall of the Nazi regime, the far-right AfD doing well in national polls. Closer to home now, big congratulations to our colleague and correspondent Nizar Sadavi, who's just been recognized at the 10th Anadolu Media Awards. His 185 days of reporting from Gaza for TRT World after October 7, 2023 got him the Jury Special Award for exceptional journalism.
Working from any war zone, especially Gaza, means that you're actually working with death at your doorstep. Every report could have been my last. Of course, I have a sense of pride. Honored to have this award here, but it's not just mine. It actually belongs to the people of Gaza, to journalists.
And what happened on programs this week? Here's a taste.
The US and the UK have announced what they say is the beginning of a historic trade deal.
It just seemed like a natural deal, but it was not done, but now it was done with us, so I feel very proud to have been a part of it. Keir, thank you very much.
In a dramatic address from his Oval Office in Washington, with the British Prime Minister on the phone, the US President called it a breakthrough.
The deal includes billions of dollars of increased market access for American exports, especially in agriculture, dramatically increasing access for American beef, ethanol, and virtually all of the products produced by our great farmers.
But what about those tariffs?
We still have a 10% tariff on.
There is some relief.
It will remove tariffs on British steel and aluminium,
reducing them to zero. And for the great British cars that you make here that we see all around us, this deal means that the US tariffs will now be cut from 27.5% down to 10% for 100,000 vehicles every year. That's a huge and important reduction.
Port Sudan has been a safe haven during the country's 2-year civil war. Until now, drone strikes by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces have been hitting multiple sites in the de facto capital of Sudan's military-led government. That's also a key entry point for desperately needed aid.
The drones started striking the city twice or 3 times a day. This is considered a coward war, as long as you're not facing armies, but rather targeting strategic locations to disrupt the life in the country.
It's located in the country's far east on the Red Sea. It's been the wartime capital during the RSF's control of Khartoum, and the city has been hosting thousands of displaced Sudanese fleeing the fighting in other parts of the country.
Violence poses a growing risk to the safety of humanitarian staff and operations. With flights of the UN Humanitarian Air Service, both to and from Port Sudan, still on hold.
Sudan blames the RSF for the attacks, even though they have not claimed responsibility. They also accuse the United Arab Emirates of arming the RSF and providing logistical support, which it denies. And just days after the International Court of Justice dismissed Sudan's genocide case against the United Arab Emirates and the drone attacks,
the Security and Defense Council decided. First, declaring the United Arab Emirates a hostile state.
Coming up on the programme, Bayern Munich regain their title to clinch their 34th Bundesliga crown and end Harry Kane's 15-year hunt for a trophy. The champions of Spain could effectively be decided on Sunday as Barcelona host Real Madrid in a crunch first versus second El Clasico. And it's the end of an era in the NBA after legendary San Antonio Spurs head coach Greg Popovich announced he's stepping down from his role at the age of 76. The former guard won 5 NBA championships in his record-breaking 29 years in charge of the Spurs. Coach Pop was preparing to usher in a new age of Spurs dominance with French big man Victor Wembanyama, but he suffered a stroke 6 months ago. And in his first public appearance since then, he handed the baton on to successor Mitch Johnson.
You've got some young players who are going to end up being really great players. Some in Austin and many right here in San Antonio. And Mitch Johnson will be the guy